This is probably going to be the last time that I film my fish. My health is getting really bad, and unfortunately I'm going to have to ditch the fish soon, which really sucks because I've got this aquarium sump that I built. Pulls in water from here, shoots it out, down into here, and then goes back up. And as you can see, there's lots of plants growing. Got two different varieties here, but they were at the point where hopefully they'd start making it easier and easier to have fish. However, with these guppies, there are so many guppies that I'm losing at least one a day. And that means that I have to check for bodies probably 2-3 times a day, because if something dies in the afternoon and then I leave it till evening, it'll make the tank crash. Or if something dies at night, then I'll have to wait till the next morning and then there'll be a crash then. So like I have to check constantly for dead fish, and that's just too much. But as you can see, there's orange. That was the yellow with the long tail was the original male that I bought. But now there's orange, there's blue, there's some with the polka dot tails, some with shorter tails, orange, that's the original yellow male. As you can see, there's just so many, and then that's just the one corner. See, I got more females, a bunch more males. There's a few neon tetra back there. Let's go over to this side of the tank. There's the same pair. But as you can see, like it's probably like 200 guppies in here. And then there's usually a bunch sitting up top here. Yeah, they're just still, but those are the females that are hiding. But unfortunately, with the amount of fish that there are, like they're everywhere. And I really like having fish, but because I'm disabled, if I miss a fish dying overnight and then I wake up the next morning, if I don't change the water right then and there, another fish might die. And then if 2 fish are dead, that creates twice as much decomposition, which creates a crash. So since it's crashing so much, I don't know if I'll be able to keep this aquarium. So I'm going to do a quick recording now. Unfortunately, my health's really bad, so I can't even sit here for that long. But if these disappear, this will be just a diary for me, because I do love these fish. Hopefully this isn't the last time you see them. Although don't be surprised if this is the last, because I am too disabled. I thought 7 guppies? Sure, 7 guppies is fine. There's only 2 males. And a few females, that won't be much. 3 or 4 months later, here I am. Actually, it might be a bit more than that, but still. Wow. Let's get the babies, because they're always cute. They're always swimming in and out of the lily pads, which is the reason why it's both good and bad. It's great because the lily pads, I don't know, I just really like them, and I have been actually getting flowers. If I move this over, you'll be able to see. Ta-da! See, there's a flower right there, and there's a brand new flower right there that's coming out. You can see it, right? So, because I have this blue nightlight here, it really helps the plants flower. And I have been getting really lovely pink flowers here. Then this one's supposed to have blue flowers. But the guppies get stuck in the lily pads, and if they get stuck in between the lily pads and die, then that creates decomposition. So that means that I have to somehow check in between the lily pads without letting curious guppies get stuck in there. So basically every time I check the lily pads, I probably squish a few guppies underneath there, which is just bad. But with most of them, they find a way to go quickly out, but at nighttime, the adults like to come out and swim up here as well. Also, that's a spot they like to go to. Usually there's an adult guppy there by the time evening rolls around. So with the fact that they like to sleep here in the evening, and then the water evaporates overnight, the water level goes down because I have this very, very large open area, so lots of surface movement, so that lots of oxygen can get into the water. So since I have lots of oxygen getting in, it lowers the level of the water, and when the water level lowers overnight, you have an adult fish creating waste in water that's getting thinner and thinner as it evaporates overnight. So sometimes the males or the females, if they're larger, they'll fall asleep like that, and then as the water evaporates, it'll get just more filled with their waste and less filled with new good water. And then by the time the morning comes around, I find one dead. But then again, there are like 200 of them, so if one of them wasn't dead in the morning, that would definitely be a surprise. But the thing is with the lily pads, if one dies, say, right here in the middle of the tank, how am I supposed to get to it? Like, I can only reach my arm in from this corner and from this corner. Because I have this thing over here holding the lights up, I can't reach in from the top. So it's been like a 2-hour thing to like remove a single dead fish. For example, one fish died last night, and it was right here. And I picked it up, and then it fell out of the tongs that I was holding, and then whoosh, and I have no idea where it is. It could be anywhere in the tank. So that means I don't get to spend today sleeping and resting, unless I want to do a big cleanup tomorrow. And since I'm disabled, I don't know, do I keep pushing through and doing tons of work to get rid of these guppies because they're beautiful, I love them, and as this fills up, there'll be less and less oxygen reasons to kill guppies. It'll be more that they'll just be dumb guppies that come up here, or sick guppies that don't grow up because, well, I'm growing them all from fries. Let's see, this corner over here is a good spot where the newborn fry like to sit before they go and mingle with the older fry. As you can see, those ones are like, probably like, actually that one's got some dark in its tail, so it's a bit older. But the ones that have no color whatsoever, they're pretty brand new, like that one right there in the middle. So, since I'm raising guppies from like day one, of course some of them are going to die. That's something I have to be aware of. But as a disabled person, can I really take care of them? I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, anything, like should I put something in the water to not have as many guppies? I don't want to separate them because that's more work for me. Let's find the beautiful ones. Oh, look at that one male there. That's like a different kind of guppy. I never bought any guppies that looked like that, but then one of them just appeared. It's super cool, isn't it? I really, really like that one. So for the fact that I get to like get all these surprises and these beautiful, colorful fish, it's worth it. Like the orange, that one there. Like, oh, look at that. That's so pretty, isn't it? And if I lose one or two a day, it doesn't really... Oh, that one there, it's got one orange in its tail. That yellow one, it's got just one triangle diamond of orange in the middle of its tail. It's pretty cool. See? Did you see it? So I'm getting all these amazing patterns. My favorite are the dark blues. Oh, actually, I love this guy. Unfortunately, this guy's getting some fin rot on the top and bottom, which is really, really, really sad. See? So, unfortunately, I just can't take care of these fish as good as I want to. Like, I would really, really love it, so they never had fin rot or anything like that, but... Oh, it's just so much work. Only bought 7 guppies. Oh, and as my neon tetras have pretty much all died, there's only 4 of them left. And it's kind of hard for me to tell if those 4 are 4 brand new ones from April, or if some of those 4 are the ones that are going to be, actually it's November, right now it's November 5th, so that means they'd be 2 years old if any of these 4 are surviving from the original batch that I got. So I wanted them to have company, so I just bought 7 Guppies a little while ago. And then, now there's all this. Now what do? Do I just let some Guppies get sick and die and then try to do the best I can to remove them and then try to just raise more healthy Guppies? Or do I just quit it altogether? It's so difficult. I don't really know, because my disability, it's like, people keep saying like, oh, well, maybe you should get different fish, or oh, maybe you should do this or do that, but I've never heard someone talk to my sister and say, hey, you should get rid of your cat, or hey, you should get rid of your dog, or anything like that. I've never heard someone say, hey, you should get rid of your cat, or hey, get rid of your dog. But I have heard plenty of people say, oh, that's a lot of work, why do you do that, or oh, you should get different fish, or I don't know though. I really, really, really love how they look. They're just so pretty. And when they shine so colorfully like this, it does make it all worth it, but it's only worth it to me. 9 out of 10 people say, what do you do with your life? Why don't you do anything? Why don't you go out for walks more? Why don't you see your friends? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I mean, it's worth it for me, but no one understands how much work I put in to keep these fish alive. If it was a dog and I was never around my friends, they'd be like, oh, obviously you take care of your pets really well. But since I'm disabled and I spend so much time here, all I get is, you should go out for walks more. You should have people over more. So as a disabled person, it's not whether I'm able to care for the fish, it's whether caring for the fish is interfering with, I don't know, my life. And to me, this is worth it to have it in my life. But many, many people seem to like not understand. To them, having fish is like having a garden and having plants. If a plant dies, whatever. But to me, I've never thought of it like that. Like, each and every fish is a living being. And if one of them dies overnight because I didn't clean the water that day because I was lazy, that's my fault. But is that really a reason to not have any fish? Because on certain days I can't take care of a few of them? I mean, yes, but at the same time, no, because I'll just remove this plastic sheet. In another few months, these are going to be way bigger. And when these get way bigger, they're going to make it easier. I'll just do this so you can see. See, there's one of those underneath. This just makes it a little quieter. And then these are going to grow so much bigger, and that's going to make it so I don't need to change the water. And if I don't need to change the water, then all I need to do is spend my time looking to see, oh, are fish here, are fish safe? And if they're safe, then it's good. So by Christmas time, it's November now, I started this pump thing a few months ago, so I knew that by the time Christmas rolled around, it should be a lot easier for me to have pets. This is a 10-gallon thing inside another, so it's a 10-gallon inside a 10-gallon, inside like a 15 or 20, inside like a 30 super solid one, so it's super sturdy. And this one's stainless steel, so it's got like a solid bottom, it can't. Then I just have this. If the tension on this gets looser, I know it's moved back. If the tension on this gets tighter, I know this has moved forward. So that's just like a safety measure to know if the thing's steady or not. So yeah, this is just to know if it's steady or not, but in a few more months, this is going to be... Oh, this is like a great place to put a fan, so I can put a fan here to cool it down in the summertime. I have this fan attached to this upside down. I can just place it there and plug it in and then cool down the tank. But by next summer, all I should have to do is check for dead fish and feed them and do like a water change every 3 days, and like just a single water change every 3 days. I don't know. See, I want to put more plants in here, but the more plants I put in here, the more things the fish can die and get caught on. And since I can only reach my hand in on the 2 areas, it's so much work to like search for one dead fish in there and like reach my hand in all the way through there just to get down there. So it's really confusing right now. In a way, I shouldn't do anything. I should be resting right now, not complaining. It's me that has a problem. I'm the type of person that if there is a problem, I want to fix it. I want to obsess about it. I want to do all of that. So if I know that I can have beautiful fish live longer and healthier by doing more work, I'll definitely want to do more work. But the more that I do, the less I have time for my family, my friends, the rest of my life. And is it worth giving up my life to take care of these fish? Well, hopefully by next summer, I shouldn't need to do much because that'll be filled with tons of plants. This does look pretty orange on the camera, but I just changed the water just yesterday. It's just the color of the camera, and then I don't know, maybe the tint when I'll tint this video maybe. Like I'll do some color correcting to make it look better, but the camera just doesn't capture the clearness of the water quite as good. It oranges a little bit from the way the camera captures this light. But things should be so much better soon. But what do I do? What do I do in the meantime? Do I waste all my energy taking care of the fish? Do I ignore it, let a bunch of them die, rest a lot, and then know that things will get better eventually? Do I sell them all and just buy a few more neon tetras? That's what my dad says I should do. He says I should sell the guppies and buy easier fish. But I'm not sure if you remember the videos where I talked about the neon tetras. But if a neon tetra gets near a plant or something, it'll get stuck in it and it'll die instantly. Whereas you can see the guppies when they're up here, they're like, oh, is that a leaf? I'll just go underneath it. See, any neon tetra that tried to swim between two things just dies. I've had neon tetras get stuck between the foam and the wall. Like, I don't know, I've lost at least, actually I think I've lost more neon tetras to getting them stuck in things and dying. Like they just get stuck in a plant and die, compared to like them dying of parasites or disease or anything like that. The majority of neon tetras have died because they're just, well, that's so blue. They're just so like, I don't know. It's not that they're weak-willed or anything, but when they get stuck somewhere, maybe they just don't have the ability to get the oxygen into their body. I mean, just look at the body mass of a neon tetra compared to a guppy. A guppy has one stomach, a thin tail, and then like a super thin fan on the tail. Whereas the neon tetra is like, I don't know, it's like a submarine or something. Like the whole body, that's a ton of body mass there. So I assume they need quite a lot of oxygen. So if they get stopped moving for a moment or two, it's all over, unfortunately. So it's actually more work to like have some finicky neon tetras that might die in a moment's notice compared to guppies that, I mean, it's the exact opposite problem. I'd rather have too many guppies and have them die because there's hundreds of them in the tank and a few die every day, compared to having neon tetras that die just because, like, I only have 20 of them in the tank, but they just get stuck in something and die. Like, I think it's better to have too many fish and have to be removing the dead ones. So I guess I'm doing the right thing? This is a very interesting video because it's basically just me figuring this out, talking through it myself, but what do I do? Is it better to have too many fish and pull out dead ones? Or is it better to have too few fish and like baby them? Because if I was babying a bunch of fish, that would take way more energy than just removing the dead ones. And the dead one that died was like tiny, so I can just put in a bunch of chemicals today, and then they'll probably, I have tons of snails, as you can see, which is a great cleanup crew, so the snails will hopefully get to the fish if I can't find it, and then all I need to do is just get my water changed in the next day or two and keep doing water changes, like a small water change every day. Just let the snails take care of that fish. It's happened a few times, like I've just, over here one day I just found, like, I actually just was like, oh, what is that? Is that a zip tie? It looks like a zip tie or something. And I picked it up and it was just the skeleton of a fish. But it looked like a piece of plastic had fallen in there, but they had picked it clean. So obviously a fish had gotten stuck in between the lily pads, and then the fish had probably picked it clean there, and then I probably moved a lily pad eventually, and then just the skeleton fell out. So as long as the fish decomposes in an area where its decomposition doesn't immediately negatively affect all the other fish, then it's not really a bad thing, which will improve more and more as these plants grow. So as these plants grow, it will matter less and less whether there's a single dead fish in this tank. But as it stands, because I'm disabled, I can't always be taking care of my fish. So the other day, I didn't notice a fish had died. It was in here. It was inside that little green plant, just sitting in there. And then, because I didn't notice it, and I didn't clean it out for a day, the next day, another fish died, and I didn't notice that one until like the afternoon, and then I found it and pulled it out. But I didn't notice that first fish, and then another fish died, and another fish died. I pulled them out, did a huge search, found potentially the original dead fish that caused it. And then, yeah, that was just, it was so much work, like, so if I'm not doing a spot, I think I just right now also removed this giant plant here. I had this, which I really liked. It was just nice. But something about it was just, it's not like it was necessarily catching a whole bunch of dead fish, but what it was doing was preventing me from just doing a spot check and where are the dead fish, because every time I would look through, are there dead fish here, are there dead fish there, and then it was behind this red one, and it went all the way up to the top, so like the fry could swim all the way up to the top and be up in the lily pads safely. See, I actually bought these because the females weren't getting enough room to hide, and the females were getting chased too much, so I thought, well, if the females are getting chased and they're not going to give birth, then I'm going to run out of guppies. So I actually got plants to make spaces for the female to hide so that the guppy fry would survive, but that's obviously counterintuitive now. Anything that makes more guppy fry survive is a bad thing. Considering the amount that I have. Let's just do a quick scan and see how many show up. Yeah, there's so many. So obviously I don't really need those plants anymore. I kind of like the way the red one is. If I can take away the red plant in the green plant, and I have this one, so I'm not sure if you noticed, but every year or so a water lily splits. So I get like, actually that's 2 right there, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 right up here. Whereas this one, just the other day, started putting out its second. So if I can get this right here, which is a root, I'm not sure if you can see it, that's a root from the lily pad, but it's going greener and greener. If I can get that to sprout, then I'll probably remove these and just let more water lilies grow. And that way I can easily just do a spot check. Are there dead fish in the water lilies? Nope. But with this, I have to like maneuver around, and you can't ever see back there. So right now that dead fish is probably back there, but if it's not back there, it's up in here somewhere. So, what do I do today? Do I rest completely today and then accidentally miss a fish dying and then have a crash because there'll be 2 dead fish? I just changed the water yesterday, and unfortunately because I'm disabled, changing the water today would basically ruin the rest of my day. Wouldn't be able to do anything. So I'm probably not going to do that, but choices, choices, choices. I mean, I bought the fish, so I made the choice. But I only bought 7 fish. Nope, just gonna move my chair. Move my chair a bit closer, so that way I can get a good look at these ones. Yeah, look at your beauties. See, that fin rot's really, really sad there, but... So maybe I should get some medication, but that would cost me some money. And since I'm disabled, I don't really have that much income. Oh, there's one of the dark blues that I really like. I love those tails. That's probably my favorite one. The dark blues. Although the oranges are also one of my favorites. That's big orange right there. Then there's like 3 or 4 other oranges. And then yeah, there is this one that has a completely different style fin. This one looks like some of the other guppies I've seen like in their natural habitat, when like you see guppies in like a rice field or something like that in a flooded field. These are the type of guppies I usually see in that video. I usually see that type rather than this type. This type I usually only see in the store. What to do, what to do? Clean out the tank, leave it as it is. I love this little slice of nature. Is it worth giving up, or is it worth working for? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully this won't be the last time. Sorry it's been so long, but health stuff. Anyways, hopefully you have a good day, and hopefully your fish are doing better than mine. Yeah, hopefully your fish are doing better than mine. Take care. See you next time.